In this part of Unit 3, we are going to cover motor vehicle sales tax. We're going to talk about inventory declaration and vehicle inventory tax, which is called VIT. A motor vehicle tax is charged on every retail sale of a motor vehicle and every even exchange by motor vehicle dealers in the state. So a tax is imposed on every retail sale of every motor vehicle sold in the state, and the tax is an obligation of and shall be paid by the purchaser of the motor vehicle. Since January 1st, 1996, every licensed dealer in the state is required to collect sales tax from the purchaser, and then you'll need to remit that sales tax to the county tax assessor collector unless there's an exclusion that applies. Dealers will be held liable for any taxes, penalties, or interest due to discrepancies in your records. So the Texas sales tax rate is 6.25% of the sales price minus any trade-in, and the use tax rate for Texas residents is 6.25% less credit for sales or use taxes paid to other states when bringing a motor vehicle into the state of Texas that was purchased in another state. So that won't so much apply to us, but it will to a person that purchases a vehicle in another state and then brings that into the state of Texas. So the use tax rate for new residences moving to Texas would be an additional $90 to what they paid in sales tax in their home state. We definitely need to be aware that if you have an even exchange, so you have an even trade-in for a vehicle with no money exchange, that rate is still going to be $5, and Texas's gift rate would be $10. So a licensed motor vehicle dealer will collect sales tax at the time of the sale on most transactions. The sales tax you collect is then going to be paid directly to your county assessor collector of the county in which your dealership is located. And that's going to be easily done during the e-titling application process, which I'm going to show you how to do here extensively later in the course. So a licensed dealer normally will be charging the sales tax of 6.25% of the vehicle price, or if you took a trade-in and the trade-in was for an even price, that's going to be a $5 fee there. So use taxes normally only apply when a vehicle was purchased outside the state. A dealer is not required to collect sales tax on the motor vehicle with a gross weight of excess of 11,000 pounds. So if the vehicle weighs more than 11,000 pounds, you're not going to be collecting sales tax on that. If the dealer does not collect sales motor vehicle tax, then the dealer is going to need to provide the purchaser with Form 13-U, which is going to be signed by both the dealer and the purchaser as well. And a Texas licensed motor vehicle dealer may purchase vehicles for resale without an application for Texas title, but must issue Form 14-313, which is called a Texas Motor Vehicle Sales Tax Resale Certificate to the selling dealer. So a one-time blanket certificate can also be issued. So I want to show you this form here. Here you see Form 14-313. So you're going to need to make sure that you enter the correct information for the purchaser, along with your dealer number that you see there at the very top right. So sometimes we call that your P number. So it's always going to begin with a P. So make sure that you put your accurate dealer number in there. And then you're going to enter the rest of the information. And always be sure the dealer that is purchasing the vehicle signs and dates Form 14313. Remember, all of these forms can be downloaded right at the texasdealers.com website. And as a reminder, you can watch all these training videos after you've taken your course at any time at texasdealers.com. Just scroll down to the very bottom there onto the Texas Dealer Videos link. The Texas DMV also requires Form 130-U to apply for title and or registration. So the Comptroller's Office requires Form 13-U to pay motor vehicle tax or to claim any exemptions. So this form is going to need to be signed by you, the dealer, and by the purchaser. So Form 13-0 is going to be completed for all of the following transactions. You'll fill out Form 13-0 on any retail sales to your customers, on any even trades when there's no money that changes hand, if you're gifting a motor vehicle, or if you've got an exempt sale, such as the sale of a vehicle to a nonprofit. So let's say, for example, maybe you're selling a van to a church and that church is legally registered as a nonprofit. That's going to be another exempt sale. So Form 13-U provides the following information, which I'll show you here in just a minute. It's going to have the assessor collector tax ID number, your Texas dealer number, the vehicle description along with the license plate number, lien holder information, the sales price of the vehicle, and you'll take any trade-in allowances as well. The trade-in allowance and the description of the amount of the tax due, along with the reason for any type of exemption, such as if you sold a vehicle to a non-for-profit. It's going to have the seller's address and the purchaser's name and address as well. You see, the form I'm going to show you here in a second that's Form 13-0. That allows your county tax assessor collector to determine the tax due and complete the tax receipt that's going to be issued to that person that's buying that vehicle from you. So title applications are required to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicle each day. So the Texas DMV processes and issues titles, and then they're going to send those original documents to the customer, and that information is also going to be microfilmed. So they've got a huge database in Austin with all licensing records. So they will definitely keep that. And here I'm going to show you this form that I'm talking about here. This is Form 13-0. So the first thing I want to do here, you can see a completed form right there in its entirety, but I want to magnify this form so we're going to know how exactly to fill this out. So we're going to be doing this a lot, and later on, you're going to be filling this out with your eyes closed. You're going to be filling this document out so much. So let's go in depth on this form here. First of all, at the very top right there, be sure to leave that top right grayed out section blank, as it says right there. This is for tax office use only. So select one box such as title and registration there at the top left, and then select if there's any lien information. You'll enter the VIN of the vehicle. I want to remind you, always double check every single number and every letter of your VIN. So you'll enter the year and make and the model. And in box 13, be sure to select the person that is applying for the title. So normally, if you sell a vehicle to an individual, you will select individual, unless you're selling the vehicle to maybe a business, or maybe you're selling that vehicle to a government entity like your city or a trust or a nonprofit. Then you would obviously select that corresponding box. You're going to enter the photo ID number and the type of ID, such as whether the customer is showing you a driver's license, their passport. Then you simply enter the customer's name and address. Be sure you're spelling the customer's name correctly, because remember, this is going to be printed on the customer's brand new title. And if their name is printed incorrectly on the title, they were certainly going to be contacting you to assist in ordering a new corrected title. So what I would suggest, maybe give the customer a separate piece of paper, ask them to spell their name correctly, so you are ensuring their name is being inputted correctly onto this form. Also, there at the bottom right, make sure that you're putting your GDM number, that's your dealer's license, there right there, into box 21. Next, you're going to enter the renewal recipient if it's different than the person that's entered above, and you're going to enter the customer phone number and email. And I would certainly suggest recommending that the customer check the registration renewal e-reminder that you'll see there over to the right, so they can receive email notifications when registrations are due. So that's very helpful to the customer. Enter a vehicle location if it is different from the customer's home address. And you're going to select if there are multiple liens on the vehicle, or if they want an electronic title request. And as you can see on the form, you may not order an electronic title request when there are multiple liens on the vehicle. So multiple liens would have to be released in order to have an electronic title request. You're going to enter the lien holder ID and the date, and then the lien holder address if applicable. Then you're going to check if you're taking the fair market value deduction, and we're going to discuss that a little bit later in the course. So now you're going to enter any trade-in information along with the vehicle's make, and once again, that VIN of the vehicle that you might have taken as a trade. So for this example, I'm going to show you on Form 130-U, it shows the sales price of a $25,000 vehicle, and let's say we've taken a $10,000 trade-in. So this is easily going to help you compute the actual sales tax amount. So on this scenario, let's say we sold that vehicle for $25,000, and you're going to enter $25,000 as you see right there. And let's say we took a trade-in of $10,000. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take $25,000 and we'll subtract $10,000, which is a trade-in, which equals $15,000 there. Okay. So remember, the state sales tax rate on motor vehicles is 6.25%. So you would take 15,000 times 6.25%, and that's going to equal the amount of the tax due, So for this example, the customer is going to owe $937.50. That's assuming the vehicle was $25,000 and you took a $10,000 trade-in, and then you take that would equal $15,000. So you take that $15,000 times 6.25%, and you will easily come up with the $937.50 tax liability from your customer. So be sure also to compute any penalties in this equation as well. So we're going to cover sales tax extensively in just a few moments later in the section, but you are then going to handprint your name and the date. Then you'll have your customers sign it and handprint their name and the date as well. Make sure this is all completed. Be sure that you study Form 130-U in your manual or the one that you've downloaded, and you always make sure it's complete in its entirety. Otherwise, it's going to be rejected by your county tax assessor collector. So they want to make sure there's nothing left blank. So you would have to resubmit it if there are incomplete areas. So later in the course, I'm going to cover the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles web dealer system with you, which is going to allow you to submit your title work electronically to the county offices and to process those title applications automatically. So, you can always have your assessor collector help you, but I will show you later on how you're going to be able to do everything right through the web dealer system. Very easy to use online system. And if you're using that, you're going to scan those required documents to your computer, and then you'll upload all these documents right through the web dealer system. So after that title application is approved by the county, a copy of the county approved final receipt can be printed by the dealer, and that's going to contain this barcode at the top with your web dealer title ID number and the document number. So don't worry, we're going to cover web dealer extensively later on in the course. So the Texas Department of Motor Vehicle also has a web dealer application that allows dealers to submit title work electronically to your title offices. So that's also going to have scanned images as well. So we will definitely cover that very much in depth later on. So also, just real quick on your standard presumptive value, which you're going to hear of quite often, it doesn't necessarily apply to us, okay, us as dealers. The standard presumptive value law only applies to sales of motor vehicles between individuals that are not licensed dealers. So that would be a private party that sells a vehicle to another private party and a licensed dealer was not involved. So if a licensed motor vehicle dealer sells the used vehicle, tax is due based on the sales price. So the county does not have to check the used vehicle's SPV if the seller is a licensed dealer. See how that works? So the selling dealer's signature on the title application is going to be an acceptable record of the sales price. But remember, the county tax assessor collector, at his or her opinion, may request the dealer's invoice or a sales receipt from any purchaser for additional documentation records. So with that being said, next, we are going to cover motor vehicle inventory declaration, which you're going to be filing every single year, and the motor vehicle inventory statement, which is quite different, and you're going to file that every month. So I want to really make sure that you're aware that there is a big significant difference between these two. Okay, so you're going to file your motor vehicle inventory declaration every year, and you're going to file a motor vehicle inventory statement every single month. Okay, so I'm going to go in depth on these here. So, for property tax purposes, state law requires that a motor vehicle dealer's inventory is appraised based on the total sales of vehicles in the prior year. Dealers are going to be required to file the dealer's motor vehicle inventory declaration, Form 50-244 with the county that they're located in every year. And the total number of sales from the previous year is going to be included on that declaration. So that declaration form 50244 is filed with your county chief's appraiser, and you're going to send a copy to the tax collector within 30 days of being licensed. So I'm going to show you how to do this here very easily, but I do want to repeat that. The VIT declaration form 50-244 is filed with your county's chief appraiser within 30 days of being licensed. So I'll show you how to do that here in just a moment. So, the VIT declaration informs their county offices that a new dealership has been established in that county, and they're going to start a new file on your dealership. So they're going to help you with that as well. After you open your dealership, you're going to complete and file monthly VIT statements, which are a different form. That's 50-246, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. And that's going to be filed with the county tax assessor, and then you're going to file a copy with your county appraiser. So I'm going to show you both of these very much in depth here, and you're going to definitely understand the difference of the two. But as we go into this, I want you to be aware that no payments are going to be due on these reports your first year in business, the first calendar year in business. And I want to repeat that important statement. No VIT payments are due your first calendar year. The monthly VIT statements will be used to establish the tax rate for the following year. So your county is going to help you out with this if you have questions. But I will show you in depth here in just a moment the difference between these two very, very important tax documents. The dealer's obligation to pay VIT payments begins on January 1st of the calendar year after you have been in business for 1 year. Okay, so the dealer must file an annual VIT declaration, which is Form 250-244, summarizing the sales for the preceding year. And this report is going to be required to be submitted every year before February 1st. So as a dealer, it's presumed that you're going to be the owner of every motor vehicle in your inventory on January 1st of every year. And that law excludes manufacturers and wholesale dealers or dealers that sell self-propelled vehicles, such as equipment that's not going to be used on roadways. So let me show you this. The following form is 50-244. And this is an example I'm going to show you here. This is your dealer's motor vehicle inventory declaration. And with this assumption, let's just assume that we sold 50 vehicles during that year, and they sold for $5,000 each. And it's also going to assume that you sold 10 vehicles to other dealers for $2,500. So we're going to make this really, really easy here on this first form. And let's assume that the dealer had no fleet sales, which I'm going to explain here in a second. We're also going to assume that this dealer is located in Austin and that you have been in business the entire year. So this is something you definitely need to be aware of your second year in business as well. So if you're just starting your dealership, you're going to need to file this form within 30 days of being licensed. I'm going to really drive that home to you. If you are starting your dealership, make a note in your manual here. You're going to need to file this form within 30 days of being licensed. So the information in this form is only to be used as an example. So be sure to enter your correct dealership sales information. And if you ever have any questions, your county tax assessor collector is going to have answers for you. In fact, if you make any mistakes on this form, I promise you they will certainly be contacting you if you're making any mistakes. So let's magnify this form here to ensure that you are going to know how to complete this form correctly. Once again, this is the dealer's motor vehicle inventory declaration form 50-244. So you're going to be sure to enter the year that you're declaring at the top right, and then you'll enter your county appraisal district address. This is the address you will be sending the original to, and don't forget to put the phone number there as well. And then you're going to enter the county tax office contact address, and this is the address that you're going to send the copy to. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to enter your dealership contact information, including the name of the person completing the form, along with the person's title, such as maybe you're the owner or the general manager. So be sure to include that. And then next, you're going to enter the business location address, and also be sure to include your general distinguishing that number. That's your Texas dealer's license number, or it's sometimes referred to as your P number, and your start date if you were not in business on January 1st. So that's going to be us that are applying for the first time. So make sure, if you're just operating your dealership, make sure and put the start date if it was not on January 1st, okay? So next, before we move on, I want to explain this section of Form 50-244. The market value of the dealer's motor vehicle inventory on January 1st is the total prior year's annual sales from the dealer inventory minus any sales to other dealers divided by 12. Does that sound complicated? It's really not. I'll say that again. The market value of the dealer's motor vehicle inventory on January 1st is the total prior year's annual sales from the dealer inventory minus any sales to other dealers divided by 12. So you'll take your total sales during that year, you'll subtract any dealer inventory sales, and you simply divide that by 12. So let's say for this example that we sold a total of 50 vehicles, and let's say we sold 10 of those vehicles to other licensed dealers, and let's say we had no fleet transactions or subsequent sales. So let's also say the total selling price of the vehicles that we sold was $250,000. And the total selling price of the 10 vehicles that we sold to other dealers was a simple $225,000. So simply enter the total of the vehicles we sold was $250,000, and then you'll just divide $250,000 by 12 to equal, for this example, 20833.33. So see how that easy that is? And I want to remind you that you can always watch these training videos again at texasdealers.com. You just scroll down to the very bottom left there and click on Texas Dealer Video. So you're going to be able to review this content over and over and over again after the training course. So finally there at the very bottom, you're going to make sure that you enter your dealership name, print your name, your title, and then you're also going to sign that. So for any person that is obtaining a dealer's license for the first time and was not licensed on January 1st, the chief appraiser is going to estimate the value of the inventory the following year using sales data from the previous year. So you need to be aware that a dealer that does not file the motor vehicle inventory declaration by February 1st of each year would be found guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by a fine of up to $100 per day until that declaration is filed. I want to repeat that. It's very important that you're aware of this. You need to be aware that a dealer that does not file your annual motor vehicle inventory declaration by February 1st of each year can be found guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by a fine of up to $100 per day until that declaration is filed. And in addition, the dealer faces a $500 fine per month that is not filed. So this is part of the gig here, okay? You have to do this in a timely manner every single year. So we're going to file that form within 30 days after we've started. And also, we're always going to file this before February 1st every single year. So you might get on your Google Calendar for every subsequent year and make sure that you have that information in there. I also want you to be very aware that if a dealer fails to file the VIT declaration, or if you sell less than 5 vehicles in a year, the chief appraiser will notify the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, and the department will begin the process of terminating the dealer's license or prohibit the dealer from renewing his or her license. So remember, everyone, the state has zero tolerance on this requirement. You have to sell at least 5 vehicles every year. Remember, we've got to show the DMV that we are actually selling motor vehicles for a profit and not using our dealer's license to avoid, paying sales tax on that beautiful Corvette that you want to drive. Okay, so you must sell at least 5 vehicles or more every year in order to renew your license. Not filing your motor vehicle inventory declaration by February 1st every year will be very expensive for your dealership and may lead to the termination of your dealer's license. So now I want to show you a form that's a little bit different. Remember that form we just discussed is Form 50-244. That's the motor vehicle inventory declaration. The next form is Form 50-246, which is a little bit different, and we call this our motor vehicle inventory tax statement, okay? Or sometimes we call this the VIT. So in addition to the motor vehicle inventory declaration that must be filed every year before February 1st, a dealer is also going to file a monthly VIT statement, which is called Form 50-246 with the county's chief appraiser listing all vehicles that were sold, and you're also going to have to prepay your property taxes for each vehicle. So a copy of this is going to be sent to your tax collector. No VIT payments are due on these reports during your first calendar year, but will be required your second calendar year. So I want to kind of explain that real quickly here. We're going to be doing this every single month. We're going to be submitting a VIT statement every single month to our county, but you are going to start prepaying your property taxes your second year in business. So even though we're going to be filing this your every single month your first year in business, you are not going to need to prepay until you're in business the second calendar year, okay? So a dealer must meet the following monthly vehicle inventory tax statement requirements. So just remember, a dealer is going to file 12 VIT statements every year. You must file VITs by the 10th day of the month following the month that is being reported. I want to repeat that important statement as well. The dealer must file VITs by the 10th day of the month following the month that's being reported. For example, if you're filing a VIT for the month of January, it must be filed by February 10th. If you're filing a VIT for the month of July, it must be filed by August 10th. So you're always going to file it before the 10th day of the month following the month that you have filed the VIT. So the dealer must file a VIT with the county tax office along with prepayment of those taxes your second year in business. The dealer must send a copy of the form to the county appraisal district as well, and I'll show you how to do that here when we fill the form out in just a moment. A dealer must file a statement indicating no motor vehicles were sold during that month if applicable. So even if you had a slow month where you sold no vehicles, you're going to still file this statement indicating that you had no sales. So this VIT form that we submit every single month is part of the gig here, okay? So this is a form that you're going to file every single month. If a dealer is getting licensed for the very first time and was not licensed on January 1st, the dealer does not assign the unit property tax or send prepayments. So remember, dealers are going to retain documentation of every single vehicle sold. So make sure that you're documenting absolutely everything that you're doing. So this is the form I'm talking about. This is the dealer's monthly vehicle inventory tax statement, which is we call our VIT. This is form 50-246. I want to remind you, you can download all these forms at texasdealers.com. Just scroll down to the bottom left of Texas Dealer Forms, and you'll certainly be able to use these. And as I said earlier, there are some counties that have their own, but we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But once again, let's magnify this form 50-246 to ensure that you are filling this out correctly. During the completion of this form, we're going to learn also how to compute the very important unit property tax factor. I'm going to show you how to compute the unit property tax factor here in just a moment. Okay, so now starting off, this form is a little bit different than the vehicle declaration. Remember, this is vehicle statement. Vehicle statement. There's declaration and there's that you file annually, and there's statement which you file monthly. So this is a little bit different from the declaration form because this is filed every month. So you're going to enter the month and the year right there and the number of pages. Then you're going to enter the address of your tax county office, which you're going to be sending the original to. And then you'll enter your appraisal district contact information, which you're sending the copy to. And as you see right there on the form, it is all self-explanatory. It tells you to send the original to the tax office and send a copy to the appraisal district, okay, which is a little bit different than the declaration form I showed you just a few moments ago. Next, you're easily going to enter your dealer name and your contact information, the name of the person completing the form, and the title of the person. So if you're the owner or the general manager, or maybe you're the salesperson, you'll enter the title of whoever's doing this. Next, on the next part there, you're going to enter the name and the address of your dealership along with your account number. And you're going to get an account number from the county when you first obtain your license. And we'll discuss this a little bit more in depth, but you're going to have your account number before you can file this form, and your county is going to help you with that. So you're going to enter the business start date if you were not in business on January 1st, okay? So then you would enter your general distinguishing number. Once again, that's your dealer's license. Sometimes we call that our P number. So always make sure that you have your accurate P number on all of these forms. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to enter the date of the sale, the model year, the make of the vehicle, the accurate VIN, the purchaser's name, the type of sale, whether it was a motor vehicle sale or maybe it was a dealer license sale to another dealer, and then the sales price, okay? And if you ever need explanations on here, on the bottom part of this form, it easily explains what all these mean, okay? And then the unit property tax. And in just a few moments, I'm going to explain the unit property tax factor in depth, which we will cover that after we complete form 50246. So I'll show you this in depth here in just a moment, okay? So next, on the next part of the page here, you're going to enter the number of units that you've sold during the month that you were reporting. So first, you're going to enter the motor vehicles that you sold. And a motor vehicle is basically known as a fully self-propelled vehicle with at least two wheels, which has a primary purpose of transporting people or property. So that's technically the definition of a motor vehicle, okay? So a motor vehicle would not include a vehicle with a salvage certificate of title or equipment or machinery designed for specific work related to other transporting other people and things like that. So you would enter the fleet transaction. So what's a fleet transaction? A fleet transaction is when you have sold 5 or more vehicles from your inventory to the same person or business in one calendar year. So For an example, you might have sold several trucks to a person that owns a landscaping company. Well, if that's the case, then you would enter the sale of the vehicles also. So enter any sales to other vehicle dealers there that you see there, and also any vehicles that are sold directly through dealer auctions or any subsequent sales as well. So a subsequent sale is a dealer finance sale of a motor vehicle. So if you are financing, if you're a buy here, pay here dealer, that's what we call a subsequent sale. So then you're simply going to enter the sales amounts for each of these categories. And you're going to be sure that you're going to complete this. So you're going to put the total sales, the fleet transaction sales, and the amount of vehicles that you sold to dealers, and then the subsequent sales amount as well. So at the very bottom there, make sure that you have one person print their name and also have them sign it and date it, as you see at the bottom here. Also, I do want to remind you, as it says there at the bottom of Form 502-246, it states that if you make a false statement on this report, you could be found guilty of a Class A misdemeanor or even a felony. So everyone, you've got to make sure that this information is true and correct on that form. So that's Form 50-246. So next, I want to talk about prepaying your vehicle inventory taxes that are due. So during your second calendar year in business, you're going to prepay vehicle inventory taxes that are due every single month. You will not prepay these taxes your first calendar year in business. So if you're getting licensed for the first time, you don't pay these your first calendar year, but you do pay them your second calendar year. But I'm going to explain this to you here so you'll definitely know how to do this. Every dealer is required to deposit the unit property tax assigned to all motor vehicles sold in 1 month with the county assessor collector on or before the 10th month of the day following the month that you sold the vehicle. So remember, you'll deposit the total property tax due before the 10th day of the month following the month that you sold that vehicle. So if you're depositing the total unit property tax for all the vehicles you sold in January, that deposit will have to be made with the county before February 10th. If you're depositing the total unit property tax due for all the vehicles you sold in February, then you're going to need to deposit that with the county before the 10th of March. Okay, so see how that works. You must deposit the money into an escrow account that's going to be assigned to your dealership in which your dealership is located. So it's in your county. Your county assessor is going to help you set this up right after you receive your dealer license. So once you give that 30-day that notice within 30 days, they're going to contact you and help you set up your account. And by the way, a dealer is never allowed to withdraw money from that account. So let's talk about the unit property tax factor that you're going to need to be computing for the vehicles sold. You're going to need to contact the county assessor or appraisal district in the county that your dealership operates to compute your unit property tax factor. And the unit property tax factor is dependent upon the county that your dealership is located in. Each property is taxed by a county and by a school district. So it also may be taxed by a city or any special district, maybe a junior college district or a hospital district. They have taxing districts for those entities. And it is going to be dependent entirely on where your dealership is located. So for example, you could have a county tax rate of 40 cents, a school tax rate of $1.40, a city tax rate of 60 cents, and a special district tax rate, such as a hospital or something like that, of 5 cents. So the unit property tax rate varies greatly upon where your dealership is located. So as a reminder, all the information we're discussing is clearly explained in the dealer manual that you downloaded at the beginning of the training, and you can review this video again at texasdealers.com. Just scroll down to the very bottom there, and I'm hoping that you watch this content over and over again. You're going to be an expert on this once you've watched these videos a couple of times. So once you've determined your county's unit property tax factor, it is very easy to compute the unit property tax rate. You're simply going to multiply the sales price of the motor vehicle by the unit property tax factor. And I'll show you that here in just a second. Add all the local taxes in the example we discussed a moment ago, and you're going to have what's called your aggregate rate of $2.45 per $100. And that's going to be divided by 12 for the tax rate per month. So say, for example, it's $2.45 divided by 12. You would have a 0.20417 per $100 of tax value. and you'll divide that aggregate by $100, okay? And I'm going to kind of show you here on the form. That's going to make it a little bit easier. So you'll be able to multiply the sales tax price of the vehicle by the unit property tax factor. So as we're learning this, and I'm going to show you here on screen, I want to just remind you that you can contact your county assessor or appraiser at any time with questions on your unit property tax, okay? So that is something to certainly keep in mind. So as the example you see here, remember we filled this out just a minute ago on our VIT statement. You have the date of the sale to the left there, the model year, and the VIN. And over here, remember, we're going to take that sales tax, the sales price, I'm going to try that one more time here. The sales price of the vehicle times your unit tax factor. So see there at the bottom, we figured up that your unit tax factor is 0.0020417%. You can call into your county and they'll tell you exactly what that rate is. Okay, so remember, we take that times the selling price of each vehicle, and there at the very bottom, you're going to easily find out for that month, you would owe your county $55.12. So once you've done this a couple of times, you're going to be an expert at this. This is not complicated in the least bit, but you have to know at the bottom left there, as you see, what your location's unit property tax factor. So that being said, changes to those factors can happen every January. So for example, they can change from 1 January to the next month. So you must contact your county's collector's office to determine that tax factor, as I said, and they're going to be very, very helpful whenever you are needing questions answered. So do please keep that in mind. And as we see here, as you see at the following screen, I want you to be aware as well that no matter what, you are not going to assign a unit property tax on a vehicle until you have been in business the following year. Okay, so that's when you're going to actually start paying it. Some of the state's larger counties have developed their own declaration forms as well. So you'll definitely need to be aware of that. Some counties do have their own VIT statements, but this is not complicated. Now, I do want you to be aware that there are several software programs that can help you file your VIT statements. Throughout the course today, I'm going to show you how to do everything manually right on the resources that you have via an internet connection. But there are software programs out there that are absolutely amazing, and they were designed just for Texas dealers, and they're going to help you file your VIT statements in a timely manner, although they do have charges associated with those programs, okay? But the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner has a web page listing all the approved software providers, and you can see it on your screen right there at occ.texas.gov. So once you click onto that website, you're going to see an extensive list of software that is designed specifically for Texas dealers. Most dealer software companies will allow you a 30-day free trial, so you can certainly try several different programs and see which one's best for you before deciding. But these software programs are all optional, and most do have a monthly charge, but sometimes that monthly charge is definitely worth it when it helps you maintain compliance and ensures that you're filing these statements in a timely manner, and that way it can help you avoid fines. So that monthly fee is definitely worth maintaining your inventory compliance. So please keep that in mind. But as I said, I do want to make sure that you know how to run this business without any additional software as well. So remember, I just want to remind you that your motor vehicle declaration is filed annually with your county appraisal district, and your motor vehicle inventory statement is filed every month with your county tax office. And remember, you're going to do that vehicle inventory declaration within 30 days after you get your license. So, for questions regarding your annual motor vehicle inventory declaration, you can contact your county appraisal district. For questions regarding your monthly vehicle inventory tax statement, that's your VIT, you would contact your county office. So remember, the declaration has oversight under your county appraisal district. Your VIT statement is under your county tax office. But, for general questions, you can always contact the comptroller's Property Tax Assistance Division. That's at 800-252-9121. Then click 2 for your menu options, and then you'll click 1 to contact the Information Systems Services team. So once again, that one number is 800-252-9121. Click 2 and then click 1, and you'll be connected directly to the Information Services team. So you've got a lot of resources in your manual there that you can certainly use after the course for any contact information that you need after the training course. So finally, in this long unit, Unit 3, I want to talk about vehicle appraisals by licensed motor vehicle dealers. The state of Texas allows a purchaser of a used motor vehicle in a private party sale to get an appraisal to establish the amount of motor vehicle sales tax that is due. A private party sale is a sale that takes place between two individuals that do not hold dealer licenses. So this transaction does not involve a motor vehicle dealer. However, the individual can request an official appraisal from any licensed dealer in the state. So you, as a licensed Texas motor vehicle dealer, are going to be allowed to appraise the value of a vehicle that you are licensed to sell. But I want to reiterate that. You can appraise the value of a vehicle that you are licensed to sell only. So for example, if you only hold a motor vehicle general distinguishing number, you can only appraise motor vehicles. So if you only hold a motorcycle dealer's license, then you can only appraise motorcycles. So a dealer that holds only a motor vehicle license can only appraise motor vehicles and cannot appraise motorcycles. A dealer that only has a motorcycle dealer's license can only appraise motorcycles and would not be able to appraise motor vehicles. But if you have a motor vehicles license and a motorcycle license, then you can appraise motor vehicles and motorcycles, but you can only appraise a vehicle category that you're licensed to sell. To assist you in appraising the vehicle, you can use helpful services such as Manheim's Market Report or Black Book. Once you get your license, Manheim is one of the largest dealer auction companies in the world, and every week they take all their research and all of their wholesale pricing data and put it into the Manheim Market Report, and you'll have access to that for free once you get your dealer's license. Or you can use Black Book. Black Book has been around for over 100 years, and this is a dealer pricing resource, or Blue Book, and that's something your customer can obviously get at Barnes & Noble. But these guides can help you determine a vehicle's value, and they can be found on your favorite search engine. And most of these services, these wholesale pricing services, are only available to you once you get your license. But here on the next screen, you certainly need to be aware of the state's allowed vehicle appraisal rates. The state of Texas sets the fee that can be charged for an appraisal by a dealer. Then the following shows a breakdown of fees that can be legally charged to persons that you're appraising vehicles for. Motor vehicles have to be charged at least $100, but no more than $300. So they have a minimum price. So if you're going to appraise a motor vehicle, you have to charge at least $100, and you cannot charge more than $300. If you're appraising, say, for example, a motorcycle, you must charge at least $40, but not more than $300. If you're appraising a travel trailer or a motorhome, you have to charge at least $100, but not more than $500. But if you are going to be appraising a vehicle, then you, the dealer, must use Comptroller Form 14-128. And you're going to have to view that vehicle in person. So you can't do an appraisal remotely online. You literally have to view that vehicle in person. You're also going to have to complete Form 14-128 in its entirety. So if any item does not apply on this, you must put not applicable. So you don't want to leave any portions of this form blank. And also I want to remind you to never cross out mistakes, or this form would be void. Okay, so try not to make mistakes. If a mistake is made on this form, you're definitely going to need to download and print up and complete a new form. So you're going to need to identify any mechanical appearances, any other issues that would affect the vehicle's retail value. And as you can see here, the form, it's pretty standardized and it's pretty straightforward. Just make sure that you enter all the purchaser's contact information, including their phone number and home address. The motor vehicle information must be included there as well. Always, once again, make sure that your VINs are correct. And there at the bottom, you'll need to put your appraiser information. So that's going to be, the name of your dealership, along with your P number, your phone number, and print the name of the person who is actually completing this appraisal for the dealership, okay? And once after that, you're going to need to enter the retail value. And you also need to include an explanation of how you came up with an appraisal price. So, for example, you might state this is an accurate appraisal price based on Black Book or Blue Book. So you're going to enter that appraisal fee, and then you're going to sign and date the form. And you also want to make sure, like I said, you've got to make sure that you have that appraisal fee. So, something to keep in mind, marketing appraisal services to private individuals can definitely add revenue to your dealership. So if you're conducting several appraisals a month, it is certainly going to add to your bottom lines. It's certainly going to add to your profits. So just make sure you are following all the rules we've just discussed if you are doing appraisals. So if you have any questions, about motor vehicle appraisals, you can contact the Comptroller's office at 800-252-1352. That's in your manual there. Or you can go directly to the Comptroller's website at comptroller.texas.gov. So as a licensed motor vehicle dealer, you will legally be able to charge for appraisals in your dealership. So we just finished Unit 3, and everyone, I think this is one of the longest units that we have in the entire course. So in Unit 3, we've learned how to register our business with the Secretary of State's office. I showed you how to get your easy Federal Employment Tax ID number. We also learned how to register with the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commission if you're going to be doing any type of buy here financing or any third-party financing. That is a requirement. I talked about motor vehicle sales tax, your annual motor vehicle inventory declaration that you file within 30 days after you start your dealership, and you file before February 1st of every year. I also showed you the motor vehicle inventory tax statement. Remember, it's going to be filed every single month. We learned how to prepay our inventory taxes due, and you'll be doing that your second calendar year, although you will be reporting them your first calendar year. You don't start paying them till your second calendar year in business. Unit property tax factor, we've talked about that. Also, all the rules and guidelines for vehicle appraisals by licensed motor vehicle dealers. So once again, at the end of every unit, I want to remind you that you can view this unit at any time and all the other videos today by visiting texasdealers.com, and then go down to the very bottom left there and click on Texas Dealer Videos.